Hello everyone, my name is Lindsay Jack and today I will be presenting to you the project proposal for the Sales Tax Exemption Certificate Upkeep for ATI metals. So just a little bit of an introduction. ATI is a specialty materials and complex components company. There are a lot of business units that sell to customers, and these customers mainly use their products to create their own products and then resell them to their own customers. These customers of ATIs are required to have a sales tax exemption certificate. Now, it is ATI's responsibility to receive these certificates for each state that the customer performs in and track the status. So for example, in different states, there are different expiration dates or statuses, and there are different requirements in terms of EIN numbers and the amount of information on their certificates. A lack of these certificates puts ATI at risk for audit repercussions if a state were to come in and ask for all of the sales tax exemption certificates for any customers in their state and ATI did not have it on hand. There could be audit findings that would require ATI to pay. So the purpose of this project is to provide the sales team with a safe way to accurately store and track the status of certificates from all customers in each state. So typically the process when receiving a certificate is that a member of the sales team will ask the customer to provide the certificate upon any transaction with them. Another purpose is to avoid having to pay major financial sums as a result of an audit finding, as I mentioned before. So the proposal is to implement a tracking system for certificates in the software that is currently used by the specific business unit that has not been doing a good job of tracking their certificates. The major deliverables from this project are a form of protection from audit findings, having all certificates on file, having a spreadsheet as an analysis of current on-file certificates before requesting new ones, having a new system able to track the status of each certificate according to its state requirements, and a possible new employee managing these certificates. So as I said before, it's typical for the sales team member to ask for a certificate from a customer upon a transaction. However, if the certificate expires, the sales team member might not come across this or have the time to reach out to this customer if they're not having any business with them currently. So there is a possibility of hiring a new employee that's in charge of just tracking down these certificates for the business unit. So as you'll see, there's a schedule that spans over 10 weeks. It goes through analyzing the certificates that the business unit currently has on hand to try and get an idea of where the business unit currently is and how much work there is to be done on top of implementing the system. And then lastly, implementing the new filing system and request process through the software that the business unit has. So to make sure that the project keeps its quality, we have to check the legitimacy of certificates. So sometimes a customer might provide a certificate that doesn't have their EIN number or doesn't specify what state it is referring to. Or they might provide a certificate for one state, thinking that it covers all because other states accept multi-state certificates, and not realizing that these multi-state certificates are actually a totally separate document. The internal audit group, which is the department that is in charge of this project implementation, will do a test of sample selections of some of the certificates to make sure that the sales team is analyzing them before they put them on file and making sure that all information is provided. Another thing that must be watched is the interpretation of the certificate status. So like I mentioned before, each state has different criteria in terms of the amount of time before it expires, the amount of information about the customer, and so on and so forth. It is it's a want for the system to be able to do this on their own, but on its own. But we also have to make sure that this is being properly performed in order to maintain the quality. So here's a work breakdown structure of the different activities that will be that will be in the project. The people in charge of analyzing current certificates are Lindsay Jack. The request of the new certificates will be the sales team. Creating a filing system for the new certificates is John Craver. And creating the system that tracks certificates within the software is a task for the IT department. So here is a list of the responsibility assignment matrix. You'll see that the person with the letter P under their name next to a task, that is they are the primary person in charge of that task, and anyone with an S next to that task, that they are a secondary responsible person. So as you can see, the primary responsibilities are spread out through each of the employees. There are no employees, well, there are no employees that don't have any primary tasks. So this keeps all of the work evenly spread out to not burn out any one employee or department. So the resources and resource usage sheet, this gives you a broad span of what each person or department is in charge of throughout the duration of our project. So as you can see, most tasks are performed by Lindsay Jack, followed by the sales team. The next one is IT with the most tasks or resources, and then followed by Rosemary, and then followed by John, Doug, and Kelly, who each have one task. So a cost estimate sheet. The budget for this project was $15,000. The total costs come in below that at $13,788. A lot of the costs are just the labor rate for the employees that are a part of this project. And then there are a couple material costs, or there's one material cost and one travel cost for the IT team as they implement the software on site at the business unit. So as you can see, here is a risk register, which is gauging how the likelihood of each risk that could impact the project overall and the degree of impact. There's only one likelihood of occurrence that is high, and that is exceeding the budget. However, the degree of impact for this is low since the company has agreed that they are willing to wiggle with this as the project is needed. And then the only high degree of impact is the inability of software to be manipulated. And the likelihood of occurrence for that is medium. Now, the reason that this is because the software at the business unit that we will be doing this project at is very old, so there is the possibility that there cannot be a new system implemented into it. If this happens, we will have to brainstorm solutions, which will probably turn into some sort of Excel spreadsheet or some other Microsoft Office function that will allow us to track it properly, the status of each certificate. So in conclusion, we believe this project will be very successful and will save ATI the possibility of a lot of money. It will also streamline the system and make it more efficient for the sales team and keep the business unit at peace. Hiring a new person is a possibility and will also add a layer of taking off stress from other workers having to worry about the certificate as it has been put on the back burner. So I hope that you will consider this project and that you find it to be successful as well. Thank you.